Hello YouTube friends, I'm talking to you today from Pink HQ because I want to talk to you about the latest update in the shop. Now if you've looked at the shop lately, you'll see that there's some ceramic items listed as coming soon. And you think, why has she listed them as coming soon? Why just not list them? Well, there's a reason for that. I made the pots that I'm offering for sale, and one of them wasn't quite out of the kiln. I go to pottery every Friday, and so I listed all the pots that were ready, but there was some more that I wanted to put in that batch, and they went out the kiln. So it's a little bit like counting your chickens before they hatch, because you're never quite sure what the kiln's going to do to the pots that you've made. So I go to pottery on a Friday. It's Saturday today. And confidently turning up, expecting, you know, all these pots that I wanted to make into pincushions to be out of the kiln. And when I got there, they weren't there. Oh, what am I going to do? I've listed these in the shop and I've told them that they're going to be live today. Well, my teacher said, don't worry, Kate. He said, they're in the kiln now and it's just cooling down. You'll be able to take them home before the end of the session. And they were warm, but I managed to bring them home. And so what they are is the little spotty pots here that I make into pincushions. So you know what I was doing last night, don't you? I was making some pincushion tops for these. Now there are several. There are some in the original colour. I've made some more of these, and this is the Liberty fabric that the first lot were made in. As I have maybe a few of those, but then I've none of that fabric left. So I'm making them in this fabric now, which I love. It's a sort of greeny grey. It's got a sort of a dot pattern on it, which I think works perfectly with the spots on the pincushion. So that was like a bit of a relief, having being able to collect those pots yesterday. Just one before we move off those pots, one thing I'm going to point out. When you're glazing pots, you have to be very careful not to get any glaze on the bottom of the pot, because it could stick to the kiln shelf and destroy the pot and also mess up the kiln shelf. So usually when I'm making pots like this, usually I will just make sure that I wipe the bottoms off really, really carefully before they then go to be fired. But this time, I've never done this before, I was experimenting with using a wax resist on the bottom. So I painted all the bottoms of them with wax, and which means then that the wax burns off in the kiln and you get the desired effect of not having glaze on the kiln shelf. But what it has done, which I wasn't aware it would do, it's left a sort of bluish cast on the bottom, which I don't mind. I think that's all right, just as long as you know the bottom of your pincushions is going to be a little bit blue, and that's why, because of the wax resist. So fortunately then, the pincushion pots were ready to collect yesterday. Okay then, so the pottery listings in the shop then are some pincushions, and then next there are these little pairs of bowls, and so I make them one smaller than the other, so they'll fit inside each other, and they'll be like a little pair of bowls. Now these are made in a white earthenware clay, which makes them really bright and sharp and clear. These are made on from a clay called buff, which gives this lovely brown toasty finish. They're then dipped in a glaze called oatmeal white, and then I spatter them with cobalt oxide, so that you get this lovely little spatter pattern of blue on the inside. Then they're put in the gas kiln, which gives them this, the gas gives them this lovely toasty sort of brown rim. So whilst these are really crisp and bright and white, these are a little bit more rustic, shall we say? A little bit more, earthen-wary. So there are lots of these now. I think, did I make 8? I made 16 sets, so 8 pairs like this. And here they are. I'll put them out here so that you can see them. Here we go, look. So spattered with cobalt oxide on oatmeal white on a little brown pot. Now, what would you use these for? Well, maybe you already know what you might use yours for. I use them for all sorts of reasons. If I'm using them in the kitchen, then it might be that there's salt in one and pepper in another for little pinch pots on the table. Or there might be oil and balsamic vinegar, so that, you know, people have got their own servings of that, or a little individual serving of hummus or whatever. A few toasted seeds and nuts, so that everyone's, you know, so a little bit of butter for an individual serving. You can imagine what you might use these for. In the workshop, I might use them for a few buttons or a few pins, or just have them nearby so that I can put little pins in. Pins is often what I use these for. If you like these, you know exactly how you're going to use them, don't you? So they're going to be listed in the shop then later today. As I say, I think there are 8 sets of those. And then the last listing then of the ceramics for this time are these, what I'm calling these beakers, which are a small beaker. I use these if I drink herb tea out of them, or coffee. Again, you could use them as a little serving dish or a few olives or something like that. And I want to point out what's going on with these ones. These two will illustrate it nicely. I think there are 8 of these as well. And so with these then, this is again the white oatmeal glaze underneath there, spattered with the cobalt oxide and fired in the gas kiln. Now, depending on where they end up in the kiln and how much glaze they've got on a number of factors, you will get a different, I love this about it, it's quite random. When you open up a kiln and you see your work fired for the first time, it's amazing really to see the variations. So this one then has got quite light spattering going on, and this one here, this one's got a much darker. Look how dark that one came out. That must have been placed right in the line of the gas, I guess. And this one's much darker. So you should put those two side by side. You can see, can't you, what a difference there is in those two finishes. Now, it's pretty random, really. I can't control that so much, not really. And so that's what they look like. There they are. You can see when I've got them in my hand how big they are. These are small beakers with no handles. So those will be going in the shop as well. What did I say? I've got 8 of those as well. Yeah, and so soon, because if anybody follows me over on Instagram, my Instagram name has changed to Kate at the Last Homely House, because my daughter thought that it should be Last Homely House, and I agreed with her. And so I always post a picture on a Friday over there. I'll leave a link in the description below to the Instagram if you want to look. So you'll see that yesterday at Pottery, I've got a hashtag that is, if it's Friday, it must be pottery. And as from there, you can see that I made another 20 bowls. It takes ages to get them through the kiln though, because I'm only there once a week. There will be a change happening soon at Pottery, which I'll tell you about soon, but you know, when it happens. It's not happened yet. Okay then, so while I'm up here in Pink HQ, let's talk about some of the other things that there are up here. Every time I open the door to this place, because I close the door because it's a cat-free room, not that the cats know that, but the lavender bags, there are some lavender bags left, and the smell is overwhelming. It's absolutely amazing. I open the door and I just get hit by this fantastic smell of lavender. And these were the lavender bags that I made a while ago with this quilt block called the postage stamp block. And I showed you how to make the postage stamp block, and then I made some of the Liberty into lavender bags. There's some of those left in the shop there. No blue one, no all blue, no all green, and only a very few all pink ones, but there's some lovely blue and pink. So these blue and pink ones here, which is like an alternate blue and pink. Some of those left still. They would pack beautifully into your shipping. Oh, speaking of shipping, when I send ceramics through the post, as soon as they leave my hand, a little bit of my heart goes with them, because I'm really worried about what's going to happen in the postal system. A couple of times now, things have arrived broken, which is a real shame for all of us. So I pack them in a rigid box. with lots of bubble wrap and biodegradable packing peanuts and fragile tape all the way on the outside of it. I do my absolute best from this end to say that, you know, please be careful with this. But once it's gone from my hand, I have no idea what's going to happen to it in the worldwide postal system. So we kind of have to hope that, you know, that they're going to arrive in one piece. I think part of the reason why I'm making things a little smaller to send is I've got more chance of packing these really, really robustly. But we still have to accept the risk that, you know, these might not arrive in one piece. I hope they do. Well, actually, in two pieces in this case. Okay, so that's the sort of the disclaimer about that. So while I'm up here in Pink HQ, I'll tell you about some of the other things that there are up in here. There still are the books. There's still the little. This is the one about Norma. I had a reprint of Norma. Do you remember? And that's about my beautiful cat Norma. And there's all the other books as well. There's very, very few of a couple of them. So soon I'll have to adjust that listing because there's only about half a dozen left of a couple of them. But at the moment, there are still all 7 books are still available on a special deal. And then the packs of cards as well. The cards with the around and about here, crafts, the poultry, flowers, all sorts. They're all there listed in the shop. But there's another listing I want to talk about because one of the reasons we're up here in Pink HQ and not downstairs is that the quilt commission that I've made is finished now, and I'm going to be packaging that up and sending it out very shortly. I just want to live with it for a couple more days because once it's gone, that's it, it's gone. And the new person will receive it. And I hope she likes it. I like it a lot. And so if you look at the shop, you'll see that there's a section for quilt commissions. And it's just got the Flying Goose quilt in there as the thing you can commission. Well, I'm going to add this quilt once it's gone public. I've made a series of videos about it, and I'll post those up once the person who commissioned it has got it, which will be towards the end of June, hopefully. And then I'm going to add that design to the quilt commissions. Now, a word about that. I love making quilts. I absolutely love making quilts. But there's also lots of other things that I do. If you've watched this channel, even a few videos, you'll see that I have lots of things that I'm interested in doing. Plus, I have stuff I do in the real world as well. Surprise, surprise. So, if I got a little overwhelmed with quilt commissions, I wouldn't be able to manage to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the listing for the quilt commissions, and I'm going to allocate a month. It takes me about a month to make a quilt from start to finish. From getting the commission to sending it out, I can probably do that within that month, along with all the other things that I do. But I wouldn't be able to do more than one. So I'm going to list it as a month at a time. So if you wanted to talk to me about a quilt, there'd be a deposit, and then the final payment would be on the completion of the quilt, and I would allocate a month. So at the moment, July's free and August is free, but September isn't, October isn't, and November, we're coming up for Christmas. I don't know. I'll sort that out because there's quite a lot of Christmas stuff going on in my head. It's not actually started to happen yet because, goodness sake, it's only June. But I will be planning more towards that towards the end of the year. But then in 2020, there'll be January, February, and you'll be able to, if you're really interested in this, we can talk about it. And I would allocate 1 month for that. So there might be a delay. I hope that explains that, and I hope that's okay. Soon I'm going to be talking about another quilt block that I love to make, which is the St. Louis 16 patch, which I've got the quilt that I use on my bed is that. And I'll be offering that as a third design in the shop. I'll talk about all of that on the shop page. So that's their shop then. And so then at the end of this video, I'm going to put a piece of film. John came and put some more pins in the map. We have 2 sets of pins going in the map. If you're a member of the Patreon family, then you'll get your name on a flag and pinned to the map. If you buy something from the shop, you get added to this list, and John comes and pins you eventually. John's a busy guy, and he just comes when he can. And so every time I send a parcel off, I write down the name of the person and the town or the state or the province or the whatever and the country. So that list there is for John, and he's I'll put some John pinning at the end of here with the lovely map book that Judy sent to him. So that's about the shop then. Patreon, having mentioned the patrons with their Patreon pins. You can, I don't know if you can see, there's some flags up in the map over there. So this channel then, if you've arrived here via whatever means, it's amazing to see how since the new year really, this channel has grown. I've been making videos for nearly 2 years, but just since maybe January, the things started to grow a little bit. I don't know if YouTube recommend channels that are tagged in a certain way. I have no idea how that works. There's some sort of magical algorithm somewhere that I don't understand. But more people are arriving from different places, and especially to do with the fabric and the quilting. And you're all very, very welcome. Absolutely welcome. I welcome you all, because we're now not far off having 10,000 subscribers, which I never would have dreamed possible. And so once we get past 10,000 subscribers or near it or whatever, when there's a time to do that, I'm going to try and do a live stream video. And it's a bit of an experiment. I've done one once before for a couple of minutes, but I'm actually going to do a proper live stream video. I'll give you plenty of warning about when that might be. I'm not quite sure how it will work, but we'll give it a try. And I think that would be lovely. But as well as the subscribers to the channel growing, the patrons are growing as well, which is amazing. And so this channel is ad-free, and it will be ad-free for the foreseeable future. So the increased amount of energy this is taking me to do, I'm loving, but it now is my full-time job. This is pretty much all I do. I wake up in the morning, I think, oh, maybe I could make a video about that. And so the way that people can support the channel is through Patreon. And so if you nip over, I always put the link in the description box below, but if you pop over and have a look at what's on offer on Patreon, then the patrons who pledge $1 a month is amazing. It's absolutely fantastic, and I thank you all very, very, very much. And then there are other tiers where other things are offered for increasing amounts of pledge money. So the channel is ad-free. Patreon is where my income comes from, which is amazing. And there are now over 120 unique Patreon posts over there. Some of them are videos, some of them are just bits of housekeeping where I'm just telling people what I'm doing and that I'm going off to visit my dad or something like that. And it's just like, I'm bringing you up to date with what I'm doing. But I'm doing a few projects over on Patreon that are for patrons only. So for instance, well, I won't tell you because they're for patrons. So if you sign up for that tier, then you get access to all of those extra videos if you're interested in that. Would never ever expect anybody to do that, but I'm very, very grateful if anybody wants to. Only ever do it if you can afford it, please. So that then is the update about the pottery. What I'm going to do now is post this video. I edit whatever, if it needs any editing, I'll do that now and post it. And then the ceramics in the big cartel shop will go live as soon as I've posted that, so that you'll be able to nip over there. Once it's posted, yeah, I'll make these go live. And so, because, you know, I'm just one person. I can only make a limited number of things. I apologise for that. But there will be more coming soon. As I say, I've got some pottery news coming soon. So, my lovely subscribers, and that's another thing. So, sometimes, not often, I go and have a look in the what I call the back shop of YouTube, where I can see the analytics there, I can see numbers of this and so on. And I'm always amazed to see that of all the people who watch the videos, about half of them are subscribed to the channel, and so half of them aren't. And so that's fine, I don't mind. You can subscribe, you can unsubscribe, and never get too excited about the numbers, except now that we're creeping towards 10,000. I suppose I'm a bit excited about that, to be truthful. But if you're not subscribed, and you would like to be notified about when I update, because I haven't got a schedule, as you'll have noticed. I post when I've got something interesting to say or when I have time to do so. So there's one guy I follow, John the Potter, and at the end he always says, hit that subscribe button and smash that bell and all of this stuff. It's so energetic, I can't do that. So I'm going to politely say, if you would like to subscribe, please press the subscribe button. If you want to be notified of when videos are made and uploaded, press the bell and leave a comment in the box below, because I do read them all. I read every single one, and I do try to respond to as many of them as possible. So that's the polite way of saying it. And also I'll leave excuse me, I'll leave my Instagram link below if I can, because just recently, in order to sort of streamline it, my daughter said, why don't you call your Instagram The Last Homely House? And so it is. So I've changed it to Kate at The Last Homely House or something like that. And so you can find me over on Instagram there. And I always post about pottery on a Friday, plus other things. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this far. Keep watching, because John's going to post some, John's going to pin some pins in the map for the people who have bought things from the shop. And the links to everything are below. And if I can remember, I will link the music as well. Okay, guys, this is a long one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you again soon. So, over and out from Pink HQ. So, welcome to Pink HQ. John's here this afternoon. It's Sunday, and he's got a bit of time to put some of the pins in the map for the people who bought things over the last few weeks. We're very behind. I have a long list here, but we're slowly going to work our way through it whenever John can get here. So we're just going to do a few now. Okay, let's see. The first one then. Do you fancy going to Vienna in Austria? And this is Angelica, thank you for your purchase.
Thanks, Angelica. I'm going to near Vienna.
Are you when?
In October. Going to Brno in Czech Republic.
Okay, then that's near Vienna.
It's close.
Close by. How are you getting there?
Flying.
Flying to?
Brno.
Brno. Oh, there you go. Well, John's going to Brno. He'll wave as he goes past then. Okay. The next one then is, well, let's go to Australia.
All right.
And it's Ruth, who is in Macedon.
Macedon.
I'm pronouncing that right?
Like Macedonia.
Macedon in Victoria.
That's near Melbourne, isn't it? North of Melbourne.
North of Melbourne. Yeah, I guess so. Most things are right around the coast, aren't they?
Got it. You're in.
You're in. Okay, so that was... I'll just let me tick them off, otherwise... Okay, good. Right then, let's find you another one. What about Carol in Omaha, Nebraska?
Oh.
Okay.
How to find that in the book?
Well, we've got the American book, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we haven't got the world road map, but we've got the American book.
Sorry, I'll just find it.
It's okay. Omaha, Nebraska.
It's pretty big.
Oh, is it? It might be on the map then.
Yeah, near the Two Rivers State Recreation Area.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right on the border with Missouri. No, Iowa.
Iowa.
I think.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, are you managing?
Yeah, Nebraska. There it is. Yeah, on the border with Iowa.
Okay.
Near Sioux City. Cool.
S-I-O-U-X. That's
Ever
Carol.
been there, Carol, to Sioux City? Is it good?
Okay,
Let us know.
We're going to go to Florida now.
All right.
And Shirley is in Tampa.
Tampa Bay. I can see it already.
Is it Tampa?
Maybe Tampa Bay is a bit different.
Okay.
You're
okay,
in. Was that Shirley?
That was Shirley, thank you.
Cheers, Shirley.
And what about now going to Vinton, Iowa?
Ooh, I'll just search for that one.
Vinton, Iowa. Steph lives there, And Steph's got a thing, an Instagram thing all about chocolate. Very interesting.
Hi, Steph.
And
Looks like you live near the Pleasant Creek State Recreation Area. How pleasant is this Pleasant Creek Recreation Area? South of Waterloo, near Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Good.
Just give me a minute.
Okay, no, Vinton, Iowa. You take your time, John. There's no hurry.
Darwin. In. I think that's as accurate as I can get it.
Yeah, Steph, thank you.
Cheers, Steph.
Thanks for your purchase. What about going to Montana now?
Montana.
And it's Elizabeth in Helena, or Helena.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Helena. I know someone called Helena.
Helena.
But
I'm going Helena.
I'm going Helena as well.
It's near the Helena National Forest.
That'll do.
It's near Spring Meadows Lake State Park.
Okay.
It's near Halter Lake. The Gates of the Mountains.
Oh.
Sounds quite dramatic.
That does sound dramatic, doesn't it?
It's south of Great Falls. Where is it on here? South. There it is. It's on the big map.
Okay.
You're in.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Cheers, Elizabeth.
What about going to the Netherlands now?
The Netherlands.
Catharina in Haarlem.
Haarlem, that's near Amsterdam, isn't it?
I think everywhere's near Amsterdam, isn't it?
Well, it depends.
It's quite a big country. You've been
is.
to the north, haven't you?
To Groningen. Groningen.
Okay.
It was good. I like Holland as well.
Yes, I like Holland too. I've been a couple of times. Okay, let's see. Can we find one more? No, we haven't got another one.
One more. Give us one more.
Oh yes, all right. Do you want to go to Germany?
Yes.
Carolyn.
Deutschland.
Bayern.
That's
in Bayern, Munich.
That's in Bavaria.
Is it?
South of Munich. Near Austria. Not that far from Brno again.
Oh.
Relatively. That's in.
Okay, so I think we should just thank Judy, who sent us this map book.
Cheers, Judy.
It's brilliant.
Awesome.
It is absolutely
Couldn't
awesome.
do it without you, Judy.
We couldn't, actually. We really couldn't. Are we going to call that a day for now?
Yeah, we'll come back.
I'll make a proper list of the ones that are still to do. And to get on the map in Pink HQ, people have bought something.
They have.
Or are a patron, and which means that all those people support me here.
It's very great.
It is
Brilliant.
actually, and sincerely, we mean that.
We do.
Yeah, because, John
messing
and the
around.
kids have been really pleased by the way that this whole thing has started to become a meaningful income to me.
It's given Mother a great purpose.
And that's the other thing it's done.
It's very good.
And
Genuinely. It's made
he
a very
always
good
calls
difference.
me mother. And he always does that as well. It's quite annoying. Get off. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot.